Salam alaikum, alaikum salam, this is Tata Matamba. Today we're doing a video on divination in Palo Mayombe or in Kisu. It's not going to be too long of a video. Thank you guys for supporting this new channel. We're going to be speaking more in depth about divination in the future. All right, I'll be doing some lives and more videos within depth. So please, subscribe. Go ahead and drop that notification bell, turn it on. And please put in the comments, the questions you guys got within divination, especially if you bought my book. Many of you guys, I've spoken to you personally. You guys have emailed me. I have contacted you. You guys have contacted me because you guys have acquired my book and obviously want a little bit more guidance on it. And, I'm here for that. So let's go ahead and get into what is divination. Divination is the practice of seeking knowledge of the future or hidden information through supernatural means. It is a way to gain insight, guidance, or predictions about various aspects of life, such as love, career, health, and more. Divination methods can vary across cultures and include practices like tarot card reading, astrology, palmistry, crystal ball gazing, ruin casting, and among others, right? All these spiritual practices, some way or another, have divination. And, all of us have heard of psychic mediums and psychic abilities, palm readings. I'll go ahead and pull up. Everybody have seen this some way, somehow, somewhere, and the psychic abilities have to do with divination. That's a great question. And it does, right? Psychic abilities play a vital role in divination by providing individuals with enhanced intuitive senses and expands perception. These abilities allow diviners to tap into the unseen realm and gain insight beyond the ordinary senses. Psychics may receive visual images, symbols, or messages from spirits or guides, helping them to interpret the hidden meanings behind tarot cards, runes, or other divination tools such as Chamalongos, Yampudos, and Kos, etc., 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 right? Within our practice, right? Within in Kisu or Palo or Palo Mayombe, right? That's what I like to call, right, the gift or the relationship that you have with that ancestral force or the Nkisi. And you can build it or you can work with it. Some people are born, with those psychic abilities and they just don't hear their ancestor or that Nkisi. They can hear everybody and anybody that comes to them, right? I'm not like that, right? I wasn't born with that type of gift. But I sure still can hear. And I have even seen, my spirits, let's say it like that, my Mfumba at the end of the day. And we'll get into that when we do our lives in the future, how to connect a little bit better, whether you're in Kisu, because either or, you'll be relying on your relationship or intuition, those downloads that you'll get, that the spirit is giving you, and the tool just sharpens it just a little bit or is backwards. You don't have that connection, so the tool will give you a broad sense of what's going on, and then the Mfumbe or the spirit will give you the details. Either or. It all depends on your sense, right? If you have that sixth sense. Before we get into divination in Palo Mayombe, I need you guys to understand that unlike the other ATRs, the other African traditional religions, right, such as like Laocha and Ifa, Palo practitioners do not have a defined divination system. So there's no right or wrong way to divine within Palo. If you go to a Tata house and he's using Chamalongos, which I'm referring to the 4 coconut shells. Some refer to the tiger eye shells, which is 7 of them. Others refer to cowrie shells. It all depends to each lineage and each Tata, the way that they're using their language. Or if you go to another Tata house and he doesn't use any, he uses a cup with a candle. Or another one, he uses a horn, which is called an mpaka, vititi mensa, with a mirror. If he uses that, if the other one doesn't use anything at all, he turns on a cigar, he sits there in front of his Nkisis and speaks to you and tells you everything about your life. Or the other one might cast bones. There's no right or wrong way of divining. At the same time, that's the beauty, right? That's the beauty of Palo, that there's many ways of interacting with the ancestral spirits. But just like I said, it's a language. And the better system that you have, the more properly or the more proper you can communicate information back and forth. So the better diviner you're going to be. And that's the reason why, you know, I've written the book. This is the reason why I'm doing the video, for the people who don't speak Spanish, for the people who don't have a well-defined system, right? Who don't have a godfather or a godmother, who don't have a well-defined system. Now you are able to obtain and understand a well-defined system. Incorporate it within your practice if you can, without disrespecting your lineage and your godparents. But the better system that you have, the easier and the more knowledge you can understand when you divine, right? At the end, and that's the goal, to be self-sufficient, to truly understand what you're doing, and to have guarantee, no faith. Forget about faith, let's have guarantee. We'll respect all lineages. Always remember that. It's not like La Ocha. This is not Ifa or any of that stuff. So, you know, most of these videos that I'm gonna do has to do with the Chamalongos, the 4 coconut shells, right? They'll call it the Iyampu, the 4 coconuts. Some lineages call it like that, but I'm referring to the 4 coconut shells. Some refer the Chamalongos to 4 clam shells. Others refer to the 7 tiger eye shells. You know, the tiger eye. So it all depends which lineage you're coming from. I'm referring it to the 4 coconut shells, the Iyamputos, right? That's what most of the videos and the book that I wrote, the Scrolls of Time, have to do with. Because 98% of all practitioners, or 99% of them, all use the 4 coconut shell, la 4 vistas de coco. Everybody use that to divine. And I use that to divine also. Have I studied other systems? Yes. They all come down from almost a basic concept, you know, which is the Digenga, and I can't go within depth because that's for initiated people. So let's go ahead and get into the Chamalongos, right? Also known as Iyamputos, is a sacred divination system utilized by many practitioners to establish a profound connection with the spirits. This unique method involves the use of 4 coconut shells carefully casted and interpreted to facilitate communication with the ancestral spirits. And I like the word divination, right? But when we're speaking about in Kisu Malongo, you know, we're speaking about another stage. When you're going into Ifa, when you're going into La Ocha, when you're going into Kisu Malongo, it's not the same as throwing cards. Because not everybody is born, you know, as a gifted medium, as a gifted spiritualist, that can actually throw cards or don't even need them. They can see the spirits or they can hear them. So in Kisu Malongo is a little bit different, or Ifan Lauch is different. It's a little bit different because you have the actual spirit there. Let's just say the word spirit. If it's an Mfumba, if it's an Orisha, whatever it is, but it's a physical thing there, and it has a system, right? And there's rules and there's agreements and all of that stuff, and traditions and all of that. So it's a little bit more serious. And I want you guys to understand it as a language between the living and the dead. That's all it is. It's a language, a physical language. If you're going to say, like, the way that the Mfumba picks up that language, or the spirits and how all of that, you know, that you have to ask your godparents for, you know. But we'll go ahead and get into at least the 5 basic questions technique, right? The 5 basic response of the question technique. So we also have to understand that, you know, within the Chamalongos or Iyamputu, the 4 coconut shells, each lineage, right, each data, each house, they're going to have their own names for them, and they might read them inverted, right? The down might be positive, and then the negative might be up, or yes or down. Up and downs will be switched around. Let's say that up and downs will be switched around depending on the lineage. But I'm gonna speak about my lineage, and most people have them like this. Most people. So Kufua will be all down, and it signifies a shift of conversation or creates an atmosphere of seriousness. And Sansa, which is 3 down, 1 up, it signifies a negative or disagreeing answer to the question asked or posted. Budelele, 2 up, 2 down, it signifies a yes to the question. And Matuwa, all up, it signifies a strong affirmation of all the stages of the Dikenga that are open, right? And here goes that word again, Dikenga. One way or another, all divination system within Palo have to do with it. The Dikenga. Well, everything has to do with that. Everybody knows. I can't go within depth because that's for initiated people. Stick within your lineage. If you are initiated, ask your godfather, godparents. Most tatas know these things. 99% of them know what the Dikenga is. So there's one missing, right? There's 5, and you guys can only see there's 4. The one that's missing is Kisalu, and we're gonna go ahead and look it up. But I need you guys to understand that there's like 2 that are like no or shift of seriousness, right? They decline to the answer, and then you have 2, right, that are yeses, right? Then we have the 5th one, which is Kisalu. Let's put it in between. It's neither a yes nor no. When that comes out, that's where most houses say that you have to re-ask. And the reason why we re-ask that is because it signifies the Dikenga Bisinsu, binary codes of the Dikenga. Other houses, if it comes out again, it's a yes. Or if it comes out like that, just Kisalu, it's a yes. It all depends to the lineage that you are. But within the book that we publish and what I'm speaking, right, what I'm trying to teach is that when Kisalu comes out, the agreement is that you have to re-ask the question so he can answer and tell you yes or no and why, or tell you no and why, but he's speaking. That's where he's speaking to you. All right, so let's go ahead and get into Kisalu. Kisalu, 3 up, 1 down. It indicates that the spirits are instructing the diviner to seek a Dikenga Bisinsu, a Dikenga binary code. This means that the diviner needs to re-ask the question and look for the Dikenga Bisinsu, the binary code, in order to receive a response that is combined with both yes and no and provides an explanation. It speaks, it speaks to you there. Which most people, right, in English, they don't have that in any of the books that they publish about the Chamalongos within divination, within the scrolls of time. It's there. And I want you guys to differentiate the difference. What are the Dikenga Bisinsu? What are binary codes? What do you mean by that? We'll go ahead and get into it now just for a little bit. Let's go ahead and let me look this up. This is inside the book, The Scrolls of Time, right? Here's the basic question technique, the 5 responses, right? You have Kufuan, Sansa, Kisalu, Budelele, and Matua. Right, the Dikenga Bisinsus are binary codes. And this is another thing, right? Some houses have binary codes also. They call them the 16 and Silas. They call them different names. And they'll have it by different names and different binary codes, but most of them mean the same thing. Those are binary code. It signifies like Kolamuka, like Kufwa has only 1 binary code. And Sansa will have 4, Kisalu will have 4, Budelele will have 6, Matua will only have 1. There are 16 of them. But you see those codes? If you guys can see, they're Mobembo. Within Budelele, Mobembo, or many people call it Bembo Yampemo Cuatrovento Ataya. Why they put that down and all about the Pimbas and everywhere what we do? Because it signifies something. It's a language, it speaks. It's a binary code, and it carries information. Here's another one from the book also. Here's all the binary codes. This is all within the Scrolls of Time, and it breaks it down. What's the difference between, conversating with the spirit and doing a consultation with him, all of that stuff. what the binary codes mean, which is very important. The FEMAs, the initiate, everything that we do have to do with this. And all of that is inside the Scrolls of Time. It is on Amazon. You guys can, look up Tata Matamba, and it'll show up there, the Scrolls of Time. If you wish to acquire it or obtain it, which most of you that, watch my videos and subscribed, most of you have my books. Our other YouTube channel, we had 1,000 subscribers, but we had to restart. And, all of that is within binary code also. And we'll get into that in the future. Like Kitoko, which means sometimes in life it's best to lose a little to gain a lot at the end. We'll get into these things in the future. And, please put the notification bell, subscribe, and most of all, leave a comment, questions about divination, especially if you have the book, because many of you do. I've spoken to you personally also. Many of you have my personal number. And I'll go ahead and leave you guys with uphold our traditions by making the right decisions for our traditions. Thank you guys for the time. Salam alaikum, malaikum salam.